Well, it's getting a little messy down here, but I had to take the time to make this video for some of you guys, so you know. I'm just fussing with this pin. It should be in the center, and it's not, and I think it might be too long or too short. I don't know what. I don't like it. I'll come back to that. It's wiggle wobble. I don't like it. Anyway, what we're going to do today, right now, is assemble the lid. And the lid goes on top of the engines with smoke. They're all put away. But at any rate, this lid has been engineered. Don't worry about the black marks. I designed this circuit, and then Andy turned it into a PC board. God bless him. A couple of them. This is the latest iteration. And what we do is we assemble this. We put a heater on it, and we put some other components on it, and we put it on top of this smoke unit, and it helps us manage smoke as we go through our operation. This housing has been drilled a little bit out. I forget the exact amount. This is an older unit of angel hair. I'm pretty sure it'll be fine. It's a little thicker than I like to use, but I just didn't want to fuss with it. It tends to come apart if you do. What I want to show is how we assemble this and put it together. I don't know why. I just thought it'd be good for you guys to kind of know what's going on here. So the technique I've come up with that works is when I wrap this, so to speak. So I wrap it like this, and I get this in to come back through. So we've got one twist around the heater. So in this case, the heater is not on the outside of the hair, but it's on the inside, okay? And we're just going to leave it like that, and we're going to fit it up into the housing, or into the PC board with the hair like that. And so when we install it, we'll pull it down from the bottom and make everything a lot tighter, okay? So we're going to be doing a lot of install like that up through here. I'm going to put the small parts on first, and we'll come back to this. I wanted to get this in your minds, what's going on. There's another part that goes just above that. This is a thermistor. This tells us what the temperature is underneath in the hot box. How hot is the heater and what is it doing? It goes up through here like this, and it gets real close to the top, and we pull it tight and all that. Let me get some friendly pliers. I don't want to get anything too nasty here. Yeah, these will do. These ought to do. Let's give it a little tug. Make sure it's up tight. Up tight. Oh, see, I pulled the wrong one that time. Okay, here we go. There we go. All right, now I want to slide it over a little bit if I can. This is the hard part when I try to show people and then I don't do it well. You think, oh, that's hard. Well, kind of, but you just got to be careful. All right, don't look at what I'm doing. All right, get out of there, you. There we go. That's more like it. You want it kind of in the center of these two holes if you can. So I'm trying to drag it over to this side a little more. Get a little more wire out for me. There. Now I think I can pull that one in a little more, but I got to be more cautious. I got to do this like I mean it, you know what I mean? There we go. Now we're cooking. I think we're cooking now. Okay, that's pretty good. We'll tinker with that and we'll get it perfected before the day's over, I'm sure. Let's get a little push in there, a little tug that way, and that'll do. That'll hold. That'll get the job done. Okay. Now we'll go down to the business end here, and we got some components. I've got a little capacitor I need to put in there. This is C1 Yeah. Let's see, one goes here. They're not polarized, so they don't really matter which way they go. So you stuff it in there, like that. I get it down kind of low, but then I spread them out so they don't walk around on me, kind of. Something like that ought to work. Maybe a little lower. Yeah, that's better. All right, and then I use a resin flux, which is just a type of a soldering assistant thing. It's a pretty dense thing, and it's resin based, so you don't like getting it on your hand if you don't have to. And I usually get my solder nice and warm, clean the tip, and then I put some solder on it. Then I pull my drill off the edge of the table and some other stuff that's in the way. There we go. And then I solder these joints right there. Boom, just like that. Solder should be nice and bright and clean, and should just go right to where you want it to go. If you're lucky, it will. Sometimes you have to coax it. I don't think I got enough pre-solder on there. There, we got it. Okay, eased in tight. Then we clean the solder, put that away, get out our little nibblers, and we trim that lead as close as we can. We don't worry about where it goes. Margaret cleans all those up. Oh yeah, she's good at it. All right, now I got a C2. I got to look at something else here to get my reference because I forget. C2 is the big one. Okay, this is C2. C2 flops over there. And there is a positive and a negative. The long lead is positive, the short lead is negative. And on here, there is a little plus sign, and there's also a little black dash in the circle that indicates negative. Now, normally you just like them to stick up, but since we're going into the engine, these have to lay down and get flat. So I do this. I push them down and pull them over. I double check the positive and negative, spread them out a little bit so I don't get a one glob of solder and the whole thing's useless. Then I get my resin, put my resin on a dot. Sometimes you get more than a dot, that's okay, you just got to deal with it. Then I get some solder. And then I come over and I use my other hand to help me hold myself steady, and I just touch the wire a couple seconds and it usually wicks right up, and see it on the back side and everything's hunky-dunky. Okay, good. Now I'm going to try the other side and hope we're just as lucky there. Not there. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Okay, now look at it real good. Make sure they don't touch. Look at it from the top side. Make sure it came up through, and it did. Clean your soldering tip. Get your nippers out. Oh, the spring on this thing has come off. That's what's fussing with me. Okay. Just don't aim it at your eye. That's the thing. Okay, and you try to give a good look at it. I have a magnifier over here, and I get it down there, and I make sure those puddles are not touching. That would be bad. Okay. Now there's another capacitor, a little smaller. He goes on over here. His leads come kinked with the way they make them, so I just cut them off. So I get it down to where I want it. I see where the positive is. I also see I'm going to have to rotate this guy. So the positive is out, the negative is up. So that's the positive. Positive goes down, negative goes towards me. It's not fitting very well. There it goes. A little glue on it, I think, a little adhesive. Oh, what's that? Oh, that's my, oh yeah, that's this guy. Oh, I wonder if I should put him on first. Nah, I can get him in there. Maybe I should. Tell you what, I'm gonna set that there. Oh, I know I did. It all comes back now. I lay it over. All right. This is my brainy chip here, and he has to be flat like that because he gets heat sinks and whatnot. And then we lay this one down on top of it. That's how it works. Okay, so Oh, I built that board a couple times. I haven't been on this one for a while. And yeah, you just got to remember the technique. Okay, so now you're going to put a little, there's a little bit. Clean that tip. Load that tip up with some fresh solder. Come over here and hope that it sticks to it. And it does. Look at that. Oh, nice. Real nice. Oh yeah, all the way through. Do the next one. Get a little extra solder. Lean on my other hand just for some support. A tool rest is what we used to call it. There it is. It's coming through nice. Okay, third wire. Oh, don't put your hand there now. Yeah. Not so good. Should get some more. If not, I'll come around the top side and do it. Yeah, it came through. It did come through. It'll be fine. Okay, now get those out of the way. Now we're cooking. I think we're cooking. One of us is cooking. Probably Marguerite. Okay, now I remember. We just lay it over. We don't get fancy here. We just lay it over. I lay it over. I push it up like that, and I give it a little bit of air, a little air under it. Not too much, but a little bit. About like that. That should do it. Now, get my little solder stuff here. There we go. Flux, baby, yes. The flux capacitor. Only this is like real flux. Using my hand, I'll guide my other hand. And here we go. We want to be very precise in the placement, so you don't want to mess up anything. Glue the wrong thing together. Never happened to me. I've just heard about it. Oh yeah, I've glued the wrong thing together. There we go. That's plenty. Get our nibblers. Think. Okay, now I can move this guy around and lift him up a little bit. And now he's got an air gap and he's in the right spot and he's not in the way for the most important part. And this is our most important thing. It is a variable resistor, or sometimes affectionately referred to as a trim pot. You're not trimming the pot, you're trimming the resistance to the circuit. And you do that in a way that you want to adjust and tune the circuit for a certain function or performance. This has 3 leads, but we're only using 2. And it's a little snug, and I got this silly Band-Aid on my finger. I haven't told Margaret yet. She'll probably have my arm in a sling. Let's get over here. I've marked this up with black, and now I'm trying to build on top of that, and that's really silly. There we go. There, just give him a little more air room there. Okay, great. I'm putting him over this way because we've got to have more room for that to fit in the roof of the tender or the engine. I want to push it down if I can. That's pretty good. Got a lot coming through there. I do not want to solder these wrong. You don't want these to touch. That would be bad. Okay. Got some there, got some there. Okay. Now, clean your tip. I know. All the 14-year-olds are laughing. Okay, here you go. There you go. Get your bridge. There we go. Oh, that went nice. That went better than I thought it was going to go. Get a little more solder on there. And that one went nice. Ooh, that must be some, oh yeah, it came up and everything. Oh yeah. A little cockeyed, but we can deal with it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and adjust that while I'm sitting there thinking about it. What you do with these, it has almost a full circle range. It goes all the way one direction, and you kind of want to know where that tip is. If you look at it, like this is the bottom, this is the top, that tip down there is all the way there. And then you want to see where does it end up? It ends up right there. So that's the bottom. So midway, this tip would be straight out just like that. And that's like in the middle of whatever the number is. It's a 500 ohms, so it should be around 250. 250 is a good reference for our thermistor to tell us what the temperature is with some pretty good degree of accuracy. Okay, now the only other thing we have to put in is our 9-volt circuit supply, and I think I can do that later, and I'm probably going to do it later. So now we come back to, now I got to spare one of these, I don't want to lose him. We'll get back to that, we're done with that, we're done with that, we're done with that. Okay, now we're going to come back to Mr. Harry here, and we've already got that guy put in place, so he's good. Come on, let's go to your home. That's the time. And this gets a little, you know, ambidextrous, testy, whatnot, because you got to keep it in the center of the board, equal amounts, both sides, right and left, and you want it pretty close to that. You want it at about 5 millimeters down, as I recall. Well, we're at 6. I might take it up just a fuzz. And I do that carefully. And you have to stay in with your thermistor. They have to be in contact. So I can pull him up a little more. Then we get the gripper things. You know, I'm going to get something else. This thing's a little spooky. Oh yeah, these will work. These are more friendly to me anyway. Grab both wires, give it a tug. Grab this wire and just give it a tug. Oh yeah, that's about all I need. I just roll them like that and it pulls it up. Seems to do the job. Okay, now we're going to start pulling this down and maintaining some degree of tension, not like super tight, but tension. And there, and just hold it. Line up the holes, but what I like to do is check to make sure I have some clearance on the side. Clearance, not much clearance on the side. That being the case, sometimes I actually rotate this, give this a little bit of a rotation so it has an angle now. It has an angle of attack. Now let's do this. You want to go back and forth, and you're looking for the holes in there. Notice it hasn't been soldered yet, so I have a little room. I want to go past the hole there and past the hole there and feel that resistance so that I can tell the heater is in the middle of that little space that it sits in. Now on my side to side, I'm way off on one and not good on the other, so I just kind of push it this way, push it that way. Then I want to take a peek. Does it look like it's okay? Yeah, it looks like it's okay. So now I'm going to pull that down and pull this over. One more check. Goes that way. Doesn't go that way so much. Goes that way, goes that way, goes that way, goes that way. Okay, it feels okay. Let's take a look. Do we need to push it up or anything? That's pretty good shape. Okay, we're going to solder it. Held in by the friction of the wire mostly, but now we're going to solder it. Solder them both. And again, be very careful. You do not want to solder the wrong things together. Oh yeah, that worked out nice. He's done. All right, touch pinkies. I think it's okay. If you're married, it's okay. You can touch pinkies. He's good. Okay, here we go. Clean the tip one more time. Make sure it's nice and shiny. Get a little blob on him. Hold the tip and let her go. Get in there. Get in there. Yes. Oh yeah, I can feel it on the backside. Okay. Now, not my backside. Don't get lazy. Dennis. There you go. Rotate. Oh, my hand! That was hot. That wire gets hot in a hurry. If you don't know, soldering irons are hot, and we're soldering at 352 degrees Celsius. Get your calculator out. I don't know how to do it. Okay, we are soldered. We look nice, look very nice. I'm pulling it down. I'm going to pull it down. And one more check just to make sure it's centered as good as I can make it. It's off center just a little bit. Try to come this way if I can. Yep, that feels better. Down. Oh, it's tight going down. It's tight going up or down. Uh-oh, I got it canked too much. I canked it too much. Okay. Go up a little bit. Come down. Oh, a little bit. Too much. There we go. We got a little bit there. We still have some over there. We still have some. Okay, we have air gap on all sides. Pull this down a little bit. Okay, now I got to find the right screws and put it together. I don't know if this is a right one or not. It's a screw. Let's see if it works. I think it's going to be a little loose, but we can use it as a placeholder. I like to get 2 in. Yeah, it's pretty loose. I like to get 2 in. I had a little stack of them. Of course, I used most of them on another engine. I don't know who that was. Probably that 287. He's just a resource hog. Not really. He's a good engine. There we go. This will be a good screw because this is the standard one. There you go. Now there is, I'm going to have to take this off again, find more screws and all that. I got to drill out the hole for the smokestack. But I also wanted to point out I use here what's called gasket maker. It's a gel like almost like a thick grease, but you outline the opening of the heater box and you put the lid down and it seals a gasket. It's like make a gasket kind of a thing if you're doing an old car thing. So you just keep that tight. I'm going to leave this off because I'm going to have to mess with this a little bit more. The other thing I do is I know these leads are really, really long. I trim them, but I don't trim them completely off because when I'm doing my setup, I'd like to come in and test the amps and voltages in the system, and I can do it from these wires without interrupting too much. So I'm just going to trim them off a little bit. See if I can shoot my eye out. There we go. So now I'll come in here with my voltmeter and touch these two and get voltage, and touch these two and get the ohms, and I'll know what's the heater doing. I can come in and dial this baby. Does he need help with anything? Okay. Oh, now look, that pin is sticking out. Oh, that's why. Okay, let's see. Do I have something tiny enough to put him back in? Yeah, a little bit. I think this will do. Yeah, this will do. Oh boy, he was right on the edge there. I think maybe I should have a longer pin. But this is what I have, I'm afraid. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put him back together. You know how this works. Piston goes in there, he sits in there, and then you're done. We would have fixed this up entirely and put the bottom lid on, which is right here. Put the bottom lid on. Oh, I would have oiled it up, soaked the lower part, bolted that up, made sure it was snug. Then I would come on top and finish the bolts and nuts that way, making sure that the hairs were snug around the heater, blah, blah, blah. Now I just have to drill this hole out and solder in my positive and negative wiring for power, and the smoke unit is done. We've assembled a lid, we've wrapped it and put the hair in, and we've fitted it to the hot box with the room that it has. This is an oversized heater. This heater is a Lionel heater, okay? And I know it's tight. So what I do is I kink it a little bit, but you got to be able to make sure it's in the center of that box. You go this way and that way, this way and that way. Get it in the center of that box, and that's about as good as you can get. Now I have put liners in there and all that. It takes time. It's frustrating as heck, and it didn't really do anything different. I didn't think so. This seems to work. I've had really good success with this. With the power board, adjusting the voltages in, and then here you're adjusting the reference resistance on the heater, you can really dial in the smoke. When's it come and where does it go? Oh, that's funny. I could have done it differently, huh? Well, oh, this is an old one. We don't want that. Okay, I'm gonna finish this up and I'm gonna leave you now, and you can take a break and see what happens later today, but I will be trying to get this thing smoking. Okay, later, gang.